This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
The Byron Jones press conference for you now. It looks to me like he's going to play because if he practiced on limited basis on Thursday, and the way he was kind of talking, it sounded really, really positive overall. And so that's why, to me, I really like what I saw from or heard from Byron Jones. Let's go over his comments. Are we ready to go, Bill? Let's crank up that.
And actually,
baby.
if you take the mouse, you're in control, bro.
All right. So there we go. Okay. So we play, and let's hear Byron Jones.
The question we're all thinking, Byron, how are you feeling? How is your rehab going? And what do you think your chances of playing on Sunday are?
I feel really good. Rehab has been going it's been on schedule, which is great. Honestly, just day by day. I feel really good today, so we'll see where we're at.
Understanding that you're going day by day, Byron, but what kind of challenge as a group does the Seahawks receivers, also Greg Olsen in there present, knowing Russell Wilson's their quarterback?
Yeah, they have a really good receiving core, and it's really the combination of the receiving core and also the quarterback and how he can get the ball to those receivers. So as we've seen in the past 3 games, they're taking deep shots and they're getting big, explosive plays. So as a secondary, and really as a defense, our job is to eliminate and really minimize those deep shots and those plays. So they have fast guys, they have strong guys, they have savvy vets. And it's really impressive to watch Russell and how he can pinpoint those deep balls. So that's something that we have to take care of going into the game.
He does sound like somebody. By the way, is everybody hearing the press conference fine? Please give me a heads up on the chat board. I haven't heard anything. You guys aren't complaining about not hearing it, so I would imagine you are. Byron, as you heard, taking it day by day, already in tune with what the receivers are doing and what they're doing in order to have success out there. Remember, Russell has thrown 14 touchdowns and 1 interception. So this is going to be one hell of a challenge for Byron.
Hey, Byron, I was curious, do the doctors and trainers feel that the groin was in any way possibly related to the Achilles?
Not at all. That wasn't the conversation. No, not at all. Groin muscles are just like a weird, finicky thing, man. It's they come and they go. I've had hamstrings in the past, never really had a groin like that, but just part of ball. You play long enough, you're gonna get hurt.
Al?
Hey, Byron, I'm sure you've gone against your share of quarterbacks who are on a roll before, but how do you describe this role that Russell Wilson is on? He has not failed to throw at least 4 touchdown passes in any game this year. How do you describe how hot this guy is?
Yeah, what he's doing down in Seattle is impressive. Like I said earlier, his receiving core, and what the entire offense over there is doing is really creating big play and explosive plays on a consistent basis. So that's one thing that's a challenge for us, but that's an exciting challenge. You're really going against one of the best in the league at this point. So it's really a good measuring stick as to where our secondary and where our defense is going to be going forward.
Byron, DK Metcalf seems like a Debo on the field, for lack of a better term, man, with the size and his strength. Yeah. What do those challenges present for you guys as a secondary?
Yeah, he's a guy who really has it all. He's got big speed. He has a really good catching radius. He runs really good routes for someone who's that big. And he is a really good quarterback who puts it on the spot. So it's a challenge. Like I spoke about earlier, it's one of those things where it's a really good opportunity to see where we're at as a defense and as a secondary. We know what the challenge is. We've seen the film, so let's go out there and stop it.
If he's able to play, this is going to be obviously against Lockett and Metcalf. Lockett's a speed demon, and Metcalf, you just heard the question there from Safed Dean. The guy's a physical freak, man. I mean, really, the size and the speed that kid has is extremely impressive. It's going to be a challenge for anybody that has to cover that guy. But the bigger challenge is, and we're going to have it once we get Tua in there, when you have a deadly accurate quarterback, that's the scariest thing that's out there for any quarterback. I mean, for any cornerback. because you have to, and especially a guy like Russell that is going to buy time back there with his legs. And then, and he's, remember, Russell's not the guy that, he's not the athlete playing quarterback. He's a real quarterback. So while he's scrambling, his eyes are scanning the entire time. And while he's scrambling because he wants to beat you with his arm. When Russell gets past that line of scrimmage with his legs, he's doing it because it's the last resort. But he's going to want to beat you, and then he is accurate. And so when you got freaks like Lockett and Metcalf, and you got a guy like this that is this accurate, it's a deadly combo, man. It's going to be a hell of a challenge for them. And the good thing is that Seattle struggles against the pass. So Fitz will have his opportunity to keep this team in the game.
Is there a certain threshold you need to reach for you to be comfortable being on the field? Obviously, your speed and agility is such a big part of your game.
Yeah.
You have to reach a certain, like, not going to be 100%. No one is during the regular season, but I feel like to play.
Well, you just got to keep running through the paces. So, today was a really good challenge today with what we did. And then tomorrow's going to even be a bigger challenge. So as we go along, you continue to push yourself, you gain that confidence, and you start at 50%, you go to 65%, you go to 75%. It's just about the workload and the speed and how the recovery is and how I feel the next day. But I say we're on a good track.
Hey, Byron, you mentioned that playing long enough in this league, you're going to get hurt, but you've not really missed a lot of games in your pro career. And something I've heard before is that sometimes it helps a player to kind of get mental reps in from the sideline. Have you had any of that experience the last couple of weeks?
Oh, of course. I played in every single game since I've been in the league. I missed my last game last year, which was the first game I ever missed. But this year, this is the first time I've had to prepare throughout an entire week knowing that I wasn't going to play on last Thursday. So that was different. It was actually it was just different. It's something that I didn't go through. I actually called one of my past friends who's gone through it in the past, and he's given me some really good advice. And it's just, like you said, it's really going through the mental reps. It's putting yourself through the paces. It's seeing how a play will develop on the left side of the field, on the right side of the field. You get a chance not just to focus on your matchup, but you get a chance to really focus on, okay, what would it look like if I'm at the nickel position, or if I'm at the left corner position, if I'm at the right corner position. So it really does give you that exercise, that mental exercise that really keeps you sharp. And, I'm probably taking more notes now than I typically do, but just trying to keep my mind and my body fresh.
Take a couple more, Joe.
So Byron, obviously we're hoping that for most of the season, the team will have you, Xavier, and Noah all available at the same time. When that does happen, what in the first few games have you learned about the potential for the three of you guys as corners?
Yeah, we're still growing. There's no question about that. We have Noah, who's a really talented young rookie, but he just hadn't seen a lot. But I can tell you this, he's probably one of the most impressive young guys I've seen in a very long time. And the way he approaches the game, this kid is here early. He's there early with the coach, looking at film. He's there late. The way he practices and the way he really approaches practice is really impressive for a young guy to understand that. And for me, just to see X, when he came back towards the end of camp, I think his first couple of days, he got like 2 or 3 picks. I'm like, you can see his playmaking ability right away. So it's going to be special, but it's going to take work. You really have to bond together as a unit. It's not just about having just really good players on the roster. You really have to develop a bond and really develop that level of communication that can really lead us to a different level. There's a lot more than just the physical talent. There's a lot of mental talent. There's trusting each other, knowing that this person is going to be where he's supposed to be, knowing you have inside help, outside help, whatever it may be. So we're still developing that, but that's a fun challenge going through the year.
One of the things I loved about that statement was when he was talking about Noah, he could give you the company line, hey, the kid is working hard and all that. But when he tells you that the kid is in there early and looking at film with the coaches, I think that also shows you that the young man understands that he needs to grow in his responsibilities. And early on, he's already been thrusted with more responsibilities because he was supposed to be the third corner. All of a sudden, he's one of the top 2 corners because Byron's been out. So you got to read up more on your responsibilities. And remember yesterday when somebody asked me, why aren't they moving the guys around? that I'd rather have X chasing this guy. But then that means also that you have to then move Noah around too if X is going to move around and if they're going to switch sides because the receivers that they're following around switch sides. But then the responsibilities switch. And then there's also zone that you have to play at times. And you may be exchanging players midstream in a route. And these are things that Noah would have to know how to pick up from one guy to another. And so instead of making the rookie think so much, they're probably feeding him piecemeal. And so they can build it up. And they've probably had to hurry up the process a little bit because Byron Jones got injured. Remember, Noah has not had the entire offseason where minicamp after minicamp after minicamp after minicamp, they were running all kinds of plays and responsibilities, and they could actually run the plays, and Noah can go through them mentally. He didn't have that. He didn't have a regular training camp with the whole preseason where he could have made all kinds of mistakes and grow from it. So he had a very shortened offseason, which does not allow him to actually play through everything mentally, make his mistakes. He now will have to make his mistakes live, mostly. And so that's going to be the transition. But I love that Byron Jones described this kid as a guy that is a hard worker. And that tells me that he also understands that this team needs him to kind of hurry up the process because they've got to get that secondary. That's one of the, I think you and I, as Dolphin fans, that's one of the areas that I was so pumped up about this year is their secondary, because I think it's going to help the pass rush out. I think it's going to make this defense so much better. I don't necessarily fear the quarterbacks in this division. Oh, Josh Allen started to, show me a little something this past week that I really was like, okay, maybe this guy can be a real quarterback. But Cam and Sam Darnold, I don't fear. You know what I mean? I just don't fear Cam anymore. Cam is a guy that you fear as an athlete and running the ball. I don't fear him with his arm. I don't think he's going to beat you that much with his arm because I don't think he's a great passer. So to me, this is the area that I was looking forward to, the secondary. So we need to get Byron Jones healthy, and hopefully he can take the field this week. And if he does, it's well needed against a guy like Russell Wilson.
Byron, Joe kind of stole my question, so I'll just ask you a little bit more. I was likewise looking forward to seeing what you and X could do on opposite sides on the outside. How long do you think it will take for you and X to develop the kind of understanding that you would really like to reach so that you automatically know what each guy is going to be doing?
Yeah, and that's the exciting part, because there's really no timetable on that. There's no script to it. As I watch more film with him and of him, I understand more about him, and the same thing for him watching me. And there's really no timetable to it. It's just playing. It's getting as many reps as you can, talking, in the locker room about it, talking, off the field about it, talking while you're on the field about it, or whatever play you saw, how you feel about it, how you're going to play this, how you're going to play that. It's just, it takes time, but there's no timetable. So that's just something you work on every single day, every single day. Let's keep working on this. Let's keep getting right, and let's keep preparing so that we can be great.
There you go. That is Byron Jones for your Miami Dolphins. And let's hope that he can do something, get on the field. If he can't, well, then they're going to have to suck it up and play without him. But maybe he's making enough progress that he can sneak on. You heard him where he was talking about how he doesn't really miss a lot of games. Like last year was the first game he missed. And then this year was like the first game he knew a week ahead of time that he was going to miss. And so this is a guy that doesn't really miss a lot of games, and he finds a way to stay on the field. And that's where I'm really proud of Devontae Parker, that normally this hamstring injury that he had in the past would have kept him sidelined. And he's found a way to kind of stay on the field, not further injure it, but still be productive for this team and help them out, even his presence alone. Because I think it's interesting how Devontae Parker has that respect, and he hasn't really gone out there and played for 4 or 5 straight years. It's really all about last year. And that's kind of what he's living off of. And I think people are looking at it and they respect the ability that that guy has. And if he can stay healthy, we know he can be, super nasty. So on the flip side, let's hope that Byron Jones can get healthy once again, and especially help out against a guy like Russell Wilson.